Are there still stories to tell? Yes. I mean, there are many. You know, it's like being in an orchard with a lot of ripe apples, isn't it? I mean, where do you go first? There are many stories, and you hear new ones every day that you think that's an important story to tell. I mean, mainly you want to tell stories that, by and large, don't get heard. And a lot of them I'm not qualified to tell, or don't have the understanding, or wouldn't understand the culture well enough to tell, and that their stories, you know, from outside our own country. I mean, we did one in Nicaragua and one in Spain and others, and it's very difficult when you don't know the language. The difficulty is not knowing what people are saying, because you can have a translator for that. The difficulty is knowing what to say to the people in the film to get it right, because if you use a translator, they'll probably use the wrong word. You know, it's those nuances of language that let you down. I mean, a film that I'm not qualified to do, but I would love to do, is to tell the story of the Palestinians. Because if ever there were an oppressed people that the world is ignoring, it's the Palestinians. And they need to have their story told. And we need to hear it. And we need to change our government's policy on stop sending arms to an oppressive regime. That's the story that ought to be told. But, you know, I'm not the person to tell it. I don't know the language. I don't know the culture. And it would be rather... I mean, you could make a pamphlet, you could do a documentary, but from outside it would seem too external a view. If money were no object, I don't know. I don't. It's such an unreal situation. I've never imagined that, really. And also part of the enjoyment of making a film is fitting the pattern. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, we tend to have to write for a string quartet rather than a symphony orchestra, but that's okay. You know, the challenges are the same. Finding the story, finding the complexity of the characters, finding the narrative, that if you get the narrative right, will reveal everything you want to say about that situation just by telling the story of those people. You know, as the more time I spend on this, that becomes the interesting thing, is to find the microcosm of a scattering of characters, and in a situation that you can... All you have to do is to be true to that group, tell that story, and you've said everything. And if you can find that's to me that's the greatest satisfaction, is to find that microcosm which says everything. And that's the search always in that, with Paul Laverty, the writer I work with, and that is the search all the time, is to find that microcosm that just distills everything, and the roots of it just go to as deep as one can possibly go.